o'clock in the morning, I would loosen the screen of my house, take the car keys, go through the screen, unlock the door, take off the handbrake, and I'd push the car 3 blocks down the street so my parents could not hear it start. Then I'd get in and I'd drive to Lake Wilson. And on the shore of Lake Wilson was my friend's rowboat. And under the moonlight, I would get in that rowboat and row across Lake Wilson. My mind racing because Concepcion lived on the other side. And when I landed, I pulled a skip up on the shore. Concepcion and I would fall into each other's arms. And we would go into the woods and modestly forbids me from describing what we did when we did what I was doing. Then I would get back again to the skip and I would roll back across the Lake Wilson and under the moonlight, park the skip, get in the car, drive to it 3 blocks to the house, push the car in front of the house, pull on the handbrake, through the street, and have a fitful 2 or 3 hours till I could get out, go and see her again at 8 o'clock. He said, Lake Wilson, Tom, is the ocean of my spirit. And I thought to myself, this guy, he's got it. He's got it. Are you getting the sense of this? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you another story. Same group of executives gave their homework assignment, said, come back next week, we'll talk about it if you want to share. Lady came after the leadership session and said, I'm from Nebraska now, I can't do this assignment. I said, why? Have you ever been to Nebraska? Yeah. He said, there are no mountains in Nebraska. Not one. I said, well, I guess that's your problem. I'm a good teacher. I want to stimulate you. So she came back and we went around and we asked, anybody here want to share over the mountains? Well, I looked over there. Isn't that the lady from Nebraska? Is that all right? Hand up. And it was. I said, would you like to tell us what the mountain is? She said, yes. My mountain is the water tower of our town. And somebody said, that's not a mountain. It was the same guy who said it wasn't an ocean. I said, would you like to tell us about the mountain? He said, yes. He said, you can see it from the freeway, you know. Prominent. All point. She says, it has the name of the town on it. Identification. She says, it holds water in Nebraska, water for cattle and water for crops. If you don't have it, you're dead. Okay. She said, that's where we went. And we're in high school. Hey, Bill and Joe, we're going to have a fight. Water tower after school. That's where you went for your first date in the park. Late at night. All the kids park. Water tower. That's where you went after the prom. Water tower. She said, you know, Tom, some people made love for the first time. And back in the 1957 Bel Air. I said, you know, could have been anybody. When you told me the bottle, it was you, wasn't it? But that lady found her mountain. So that's your home. You find out. Our ancestors would say, you don't know your places. You don't know who you are. You need to know your... Do it with me. Do it with me. Mountain, valley, river, ocean, wind, and your rain. And I end this by telling you that I teach leadership a lot, and I teach this lesson a lot. And one day my wife and I were in Safeway, and she said, I think that lady's following me. Guys, that's not a good thing to hear. So I said, I don't know who she is, and I didn't. And somewhere between the Oriental foods and the beverages, she came up to me and said, Tom, you don't know me, but I was in one of your leadership clubs. You know what, Tom? I know my name. Just wanted to stop and tell me I know my name. And I have people I don't know yell at me across Main Street in Honolulu and say, Tom. And I don't know. Yeah, I can't see that way. Tom. Yes. I know my mountain. I know my mountain. And you know what they're really telling me? What they're really telling me is that I have learned something about myself that I did not know before, and that it's important, and I want to let you know, and I want to thank you. So they're telling me. They're telling me that I am not the same person that I was before, that I don't like being my places, and I'm greater than I was before. And once you know that, this knowledge will give you two things. It'll give you power, and it'll give you responsibility. And those are the same two things you'll get learning your people, who your people are. So that's first bit of homework for you. And most Native people already know, but it's about self-knowledge in terms of knowing our people, knowing where we come from. And if you don't know this, homework for you. Go back 8 generations. We have the power of internet now. On the internet, from Pennsylvania Historical Society, anybody know my granduncle Joel, who was raised in Allentown. Amazing what you'll find in terms of where that comes back. And knowing who our people are help us because it gives us a sense of continuity. Just as knowing your places gives you a sense of permanence. Knowing who your people are gives you a sense of responsibility. And I'll tell you why, because, we're all descended from the great ones. Who are the great ones? Well, how many of you here, unless you are in your native land here, and even if you are in your native land, your people likely would know that when you go someplace else. We all trace back to Lucy 5 million years ago in Africa. This is not Africa. So if you are here, your people were nomads and they came from someplace else. Let me use Polynesia as an example because I know it best. About 500 AD, a canoe was prepared to sail from the Marquesas Islands. And they would sail north and eventually land in those beautiful stretch of islands called Hawai'i. And they were the first Hawaiians. They would become the first Hawaiians. But when that canoe got ready to sail, there are a lot of people who did not sail. They had a lot of reasons. Remember, no street signs on the ocean, no global positioning system, no radio, no map. So a lot of people sailed and were never seen again. So when that canoe got ready to sail, you had some special people. And you can extrapolate to you whether it was a covered wagon, or modern day an airplane, or a dog sled or something. When that craft got ready to sail, you could divide the world there into 2 people, those who sailed and those who didn't. And I don't want to sail, just like you are, the ones who sailed. And there were a lot of excuses. My big everything things. My crop's almost ready. My husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend doesn't want me to go. Oh, I have a hangtail. A lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. But we should all know that we descended from the ones, in my case, who sailed. So they sailed. You either had a good navigator or you didn't. You had a woman, but you kept sailing, you missed the island. The next birds you saw were already tuxedos. Getting kind of cold. And you did. But my ancestors had good navigation. And then the storms came up. The canoe turned over and people went overboard. There's some people who swam back and made it. Some who drowned. And I'm descended with the canoe. Eventually they found their way onto the land. And there were wars and famines and disease. And I, like you, am descended from the ones who fought off the diseases. And were either brave or lucky to survive the war.